What up, y'all? It's Props, and we are literally in my living room in beautiful Southern California. And some of you may know we just released a Board of Education video, and rather than fielding a gang of questions and responses via Twitter, I figure I'd bring in an actual expert who happens to live here and is the mother of my children and the most beautiful woman in the world, my wife, Alma Zaragoza-Petty. Say what's up to the people.
Hello, how's it going?
Future doctor. Yeah, so let's just get to it. So tell us a little bit about your brief synopsis of your educational journey.
So I actually was born here in the U.S., but my mom was a single mom when she was young, so she did the whole wiring money to us in Mexico. So I grew up there for most of my childhood, but when I came back, I actually grew up in HP and went to school there, got bused actually from there first to South Central, and then finished up my middle and high school there.
So HP is Huntington Park, for those that didn't know.
It's in LA still.
It's still Los Angeles. So bus back and forth. Would you consider those failing schools? Maybe at the time.
I mean, at the time I didn't know it. I mean, It was my school, but yeah.
But now knowing what you know now.
Yeah, that would probably be considered one of those schools that just wasn't a good school,
And when did the college decision come in?
I actually didn't decide till much later. I was actually signed up to go to the Army when I was right after after senior year in high school. And even though I graduated with honors, I had no idea that college was an option for people that couldn't pay for it. I didn't know financial aid existed. So I thought I'd go to the Army, get a GI Bill, pay for it that way.
So you didn't even know? No,
it ended up being teachers and counselors that ended up telling me about financial aid. And
oh, word. So there was somebody there that was kind of like, hey, that's great. Yeah. So then fast forward through the story. So you land at East LA Junior College, right? Yeah. Do 2 years there, then off to UCLA, got a Bruin in the building. And then Cal State Northridge for your master's program. And then now UC Irvine for your doctoral work, right?
Yes.
But interesting part of the story is, so Northridge, when you were going through your master's program, you were pregnant and taking the metro 2 hours, right?
HP to Northridge.
Girl, you crazy. What motivates a person to do that?
Well, I always had the support of my parents, even though they didn't really know the sort of knowledge about financial aid and college. I was the first high school grad, so they didn't really know, Even though that was the case, they always were very supportive of my own sort of desire to want to go to college and figure that out. Yeah.
And any light bulbs turn on when you were going through that in that time?
I mean, it was just counselors basically telling me, this was something that I could definitely do, just kind of focus, and a lot of professors really invested in me. They just kind of saw something and were very, helpful. I also sought it out a lot. I just was very focused at the time, trying to figure out the system. As I got older, I realized, in the educational system, I realized the higher I got, the less people like me were around me, and
less people like you,
like me, just ethnically, I was one of the only Latinas in most of my classes in my master's program, and I just thought that was interesting. That kind of, sparked a curiosity about why that was. Why was there less people that looked like me the higher I got into higher ed? So
it almost like it's sung to a systemic issue.
Yeah.
I don't want to put words in your mouth, but
definitely.
Okay.
I mean, I think it is a systemic issue. There's beyond just your own motivation. There's definitely things that I was lucky enough to not have to worry about finances beyond sort of getting the financial aid that I was getting. But there's a lot of people that major catastrophes may happen in their families, health-wise, just bills that they weren't anticipating, and now they have to work and support the family and that sort of thing. I was really, I didn't have to do that basically, and so I think there's definitely other issues that are at play.
So failing schools, bust into another failing school, off to JC, and then all through a graduate program. One or two people along the way was like, yo, this is different, you're different, you could do this, and then sparked your interest in systemic issues, which kind of leads you into your work now, in your PhD work. So real quick, tell us about that.
So I'm in the dissertation phase of my research. So I designed a study back in my old community where I was bused into the school in South LA, and really wanted to look at just the ways that youth are criminalized in schools and racialized, and just, looking at the role of charter schools in these communities. We're seeing a lot of growth of them in communities where there's a lot of Latino and African Americans. And I just, I want to see sort of what on the ground is happening, what's being done differently or not to make, these institutions much better for the community.
So would you say they're working?
I mean, I'm still kind of like in the midst of figuring that out, and through my research, I think it's definitely a complicated issue to address, period. Education. I mean, there's so many systemic issues in our country that, that play out in schools, racism, classism, those sort of things that, there really isn't a fixed, like there's
no one drop
magic pill. Yeah. It's a very, there's a lot of multifaceted issues going on at the same time.
So then when you say, okay, little Johnny's failing, right? It could be a number of reasons why. It's not just that Johnny's not motivated or nobody's helping Johnny. Like, it could be a million.
Yeah. I mean, there's, a lot of poverty issues that people got to deal with in these communities. They're having to make decisions like, work and help out in the family, or, go and pursue these dreams and, the payoff and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's not as easy to sort of.
And I know in my personal teaching experience, I found that even in affluent cities and affluent areas where they had all the resources they need, Johnny graduates from school and really doesn't feel like he has the tools to actually complete the tasks that he's now assigned to in his work. So he's just kind of like, I don't know what I just spent the last 15 years doing, like, because I'm not using any of this.
Yeah.
So clearly something's wrong, right? So if you were to say to concerned citizen, average concerned citizen, parent, or just community member, give us some advice. What can we do to help the issue rather than like just point at the problem?
I think, one of the easiest ways that you can help is to become an active member of your old community. If you came from one of those communities, going back, living there, becoming sort of the friend that could have been the friend to my mom, that could have told her about college and how to do that, and that's one of the things that I really advocate, thinking about making it as not when you leave your hood, but when you come back to it, once you got something to offer it, And so I would really say that's
cool.
One solid way.
That's interesting. So it's not so much everybody go be teachers. It's just you as a member of the community, just a neighbor.
Yeah, there could be, informal ways. I mean, there's definitely that, right? Like, we can have more people come in and really dedicated teachers that want to work with the community rather than, teach at the community or that kind of sort of lens of seeing it. We can really have more of those, but there's also just informal, like, just go live there, go be part of the community and, tell kids about college exists and these are the ways that you pay for it, and these are the like very concrete, practical like applications you got to apply for,
Yeah, I know personally. I had no idea you had to pay for education for an application. I had no idea. It's
a whole other.
Yeah. So, if you were to write a letter to the Board of Education, it was a person, you could write a letter to them, 2 things you would say.
I think the main thing I would say is there's no one for all sort of way to fix, the problem. Like,
it's not one size fits all.
Yeah, one size fits all kind of thing. You really, I think when you do that, you standardize so much of the way that content gets delivered, and that it restricts, what makes this country awesome. I mean, we're just such a diverse community, in the U.S., and yet we only learn about this specific knowledge base that these specific people produced, and that, that they sort of created the country. And and it just doesn't ring true, right, to like a lot of people that are not part of that community. And not only does it not ring true, it also feels like we're not part of that. And so I think one way that we could sort of have more people just, you know, really be engaged and become critical participants of our educational system is by hearing their voices reflected in the knowledge that we present to them.
Yeah, I know. You grow up, you black at school in America, you think the only black person ever existed is Martin Luther King. He did everything. Everything black people did, Martin Luther King did it by himself. He did it. He's the only one. That and slaves.
Yeah.
You only learn in February.
Yeah. Shortest month.
Shortest month. Anything else you would say?
I think, you know, what else I would write to the Board of Education?
Yeah.
You know, I think I would just say, just teach, just allow for, you know, the diversity of our country to be taught. Just, you know, have not a one-size-fits-all model, but more of a, you know, community-based sort of understanding and celebration of just different heritages and cultures and, you know.
Narrative that makes us all us.
Yeah. And I mean, you know, that would be for sure the one that I would harp on.
Yeah. So that's great. Yeah. Hey, so if you're a member of the community, participate in it. You see little knucklehead kids on the street, you know, you don't throw rocks at them. Invite them in, you know. That changes the system. You know, participate and just know that history is not just a one-line story. It's a lot of people that participate. I think that's great. Well, thank you for your work, you know, and
You're welcome.
and thank you for being amazingly awesome. And
you might be biased, but
oh, I am. But yeah. So hey, you guys get out there, participate. Let's be the change we need. Thanks for your time, y'all.